July 2022 marks 40 years since the Soviet MiG-29 Fulcrum entered service in the Soviet Air Forces, with the aircraft being the oldest outside the United States that is still in production today and one that still serves in the fleets of 24 countries. The MiG-29 was one of 4 Soviet fourth-generation combat aircraft to enter service, following the Su-24M dedicated strike fighter which became operational in 1979 and the MiG-31 Foxhound interceptor in 1981. But preceding the Su-27 flanker which entered service later in 1985. The fighter was developed in parallel with the Su-27 to provide complementary medium and heavyweight aircraft, with the MiG-29 intended to be deployed closer to the front lines, be produced in larger numbers, and be exported more widely. The Su-27 meanwhile, with its superior performance, much higher endurance, and much greater production and operational costs, was to serve primarily in the Soviet Air Forces as an elite fighter. The collapse of the Soviet Union and sharp contraction of the Russian Air Force led to a halt in Russian MiG-29 acquisitions and the closing of most of its productive capacity for the fighters, which were subsequently manufactured almost exclusively for export. The large majority of MiG-29s were produced during the 1980s, when the Soviet Air Force alone fielding approximately 800 by the time the state disintegrated, more than all fighter types combined in the Russian Air Force today. The fighter's first foreign operator was the Indian Air Force, although the USSR also widely exported the aircraft within the Warsaw Pact as well as to North Korea, Yugoslavia, Cuba, Syria, Iran, and Iraq. When acquired by NATO through East Germany, which had been a Warsaw Pact member but saw its assets acquired by the unified German state, the MiG-29 was extensively tested and proved to have significant advantages over its Western competitors the F-16 and F-18, and at short ranges an edge over even the more capable heavyweight F-15. The fighter's maneuverability was unrivaled for its time, and those in East German service used R-73 missiles paired with helmet-mounted sights to be able to engage targets at very extreme angles, a feature pioneered by the USSR which NATO members quickly developed for their aircraft after observing it on the MiG-29. The MiG-29 saw combat in the 1990s most notably over Iraq, where the fighter neutralized a British Tornado fighter and was conspicuously avoided by its American analog the F-16s. With Iraqi variants lacking the R-73 missile, however, they struggled to counter U.S. Air Force F-15s. The fighters also saw combat over East Africa where 4 Eritrean Air Force MiGs were shot down by Ethiopian Su-27s.